Hey juniors, this is Mr. Ensrud, one of the counselors at the high school. We're doing CCR format a little bit differently this week. If you're watching this video, it means that your teacher decided to go this route instead of the Google slide deck that's also in your Schoology folder. We'll see if this works out for you, and maybe we'll try it again. We thought we'd try and mix things up if you needed something a little bit different as far as delivery. Being recorded recorded from my basement the night before we come back from winter break, because like you guys, I saved some of my homework until the last few minutes of getting ready for this week. So here we go. I'm going to go through a lot of the same info that you get if you watch Google Slides, but all you have to do is listen, and you don't really even have to watch because there's not going to be a whole lot of visual aids here. So first things first, we've got 3.5 weeks left of first semester for this school year. It's a little hard to believe, I know. Thanks for coming back after winter break. Thanks to all your teachers for what they've been doing, not only for CCR, but certainly for all of your other classes so far this year. We hope you had a chance to rest and recharge over winter break. It's been a long haul so far, and we know some rest was needed. That all being said, buckle up and let's get going. What we're talking about this week is what's the big deal about the next 3.5 weeks? It's just a regular stretch to end the semester, right? Maybe not quite for juniors. Please remember, and hopefully this is a review for you, semester grades determine credit, and they're the grades that make up your GPA. Really, lots of stuff can happen in the next 3.5 weeks that might impact earning of credits and certainly might impact your GPA for the semester. So for those of you that might be thinking about a four-year college, and don't worry, we'll talk about community colleges and vocational colleges and military approaches as well. All pathways are important. We know most of our students are going to apply to four-year colleges in a year, and we want to make sure we're covering all our bases. So if you're considering a four-year college, what's the big deal about the next 3.5 weeks? Well, I gathered some stuff from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. It talks about their admissions review and selection process. And I selected the University of Minnesota Twin Cities because over the last 5 years, we've probably sent more students there than any other institution. So blasted all over their website, and certainly for counselors and parents to see. They want to make it known that the greatest predictor of college success is your academic preparation, and that the strongest consideration in their decision is given to your high school record. That's your transcript. The following factors are their big considerations. The coursework that you take in grades 9 through 12, the grades that you earn in that coursework, your overall grade point average, and class rank. We do still use class rank at Northfield High School. They also take a pretty close look at how rigorous your classes are that you took and based on what's available. So if you're someone who's taken some AP classes and or PSEO and or concurrent enrollment or other college credit bearing courses, they'll take that into consideration as well. So those academic factors are all huge. They're all a part of what's on your transcript and easy to see. So the next 3.5 weeks can certainly influence some of those big pieces. Another example, not everybody goes to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. We also see a lot of students go to some mid-sized state universities like Minnesota State University Mankato. They have a guaranteed admission approach currently. Things might change from one year to the next, but right now, students are automatically admitted to Mankato if they have a cumulative high school GPA of 3.0 or rank in the top 50% of their high school class, or report an ACT composite score of 21 or higher and have a minimum cumulative GPA of 2.7. There are some exceptions to every rule, and Mankato accounts for that in their application review process. But by and large, it's pretty cut and dried. So those are two more local examples. There's certainly a wide range of academic factors that go into those admissions decisions. And if you have some colleges you're interested in, some four-year schools, we would recommend taking a close look at their websites to really dig into some of their admissions requirements and the factors that they consider. But at the end of the day, more important than anything else, to almost every four-year college you might apply to is going to be your academic record. What is reflected on your transcript will really make a big difference. And those grades, that GPA, all those things go into the decision. So regardless of the four-year college, before the pandemic, junior year was typically considered the most important on a transcript when it came time for those colleges to review for admissions. Pandemic's changed a lot of things, but junior year is still probably the most important for quite a few reasons. This year has probably been less disrupted, at least so far, than the last 2 years. Um, some colleges might continue to be test optional, which will make transcripts that much more important if they continue to not factor in or make it optional to factor in test scores. So what patterns and progress do both grades and course selection show for you? Because your junior year is really the year where things are supposed to shine as far as the courses you've taken and how you've performed in those courses. All right, so the next 3.5 weeks still might be a very big deal if you're considering for your college. We've established that. What if you're considering a community or technical college, or maybe the military, or really you just want to graduate on time with your class? There's some other things to consider at this point that make the last 3.5 weeks of this semester important. First of all, are you on track with overall credits? Basically, that means have you earned at least 11.5 or more credits in the first 2 years of high school? Second, are you on track with the required credits, the stuff you've had to take in English and social studies and science and math, and at least part of the Phi-Ed requirement? And did you finish your health requirement? And have you got that arts requirement in hand? And finally, will you still be on track with overall and required credits after first semester this year? So at the end of this month, when first semester wraps up, are you still on track overall and with required credits? If so, you're on track to earn your diploma by the end of next year. And in order to attend a 2-year school, meaning a community or technical college, or in order to be accepted to the military, or again, simply if you want to graduate on time, that makes these last 3.5 weeks potentially important to stay on track towards graduation so that you can earn that diploma. So some of you might be sitting there and maybe by now not listening because you figure, we talked about 4-year schools, 2-year schools, military stuff I'm not interested in. I just want to go off to work, or I just want to, kind of forget about it, move on to something else. Well, let's talk about the reality of if you are at risk of not passing something or more than one something right now. First things first, own it. Don't dodge it. If it's real, it's real. And I know winter break may have made it easy to try and forget it, but we're back, so it's time to hit it head on. And by hitting it head on, we mean make a plan. Which class or classes needs the most attention? Which assignments need to be prioritized? What do you need to do differently? Or maybe more importantly, what are you willing to do differently? What do you need to give up or sacrifice in order to get the job done? Do you need to use flex? Do you need to use study hall? Do you need to use some time outside of school? And having said that, after the last couple of years, it's no mystery that it was hard for most of us when we were trying to do school at home. So now that we're back in school, maybe the first thing to consider is using your time in school better for the next 3.5 weeks. All right, there's an action item. All right, regardless, 4-year college, 2-year school, military, world of work, want to graduate on time, don't really care right now, flying high, at serious risk, doesn't matter. I'm asking everybody to do the following action item. Set one goal for each class that you can commit to for the next 3.5 weeks. Categorically, that might mean how you use your time, in class or out of class, at school or at home. It might be specific to an assignment or two. It might be more about test preparation. Maybe it's about seeking support, which, by the way, is a normal everyday occurrence once you are out of high school. So we'd like to encourage you to seek support when, where, and how you might need it. One other strategy, talk to your teacher. Go directly to them. Preferable to sending a Schoology message or an email, but if you're more comfortable doing that, reach out. Ask for some help. Ask questions like, what's most important for me to do? What should I prioritize? Making that initial kind of outreach, if you haven't already been doing so, is a big deal in the eyes of your teachers. Okay, so that's your action item. One goal for each of your classes. And if you're doing great in a class, still, what do you need to do in order to stay great by the end of this semester? And again, something you're willing to commit to for the next 3.5 weeks. Your CCR teacher is going to determine how you can and should document your goals. All right, so we're going to leave that up to them. Last thoughts. We've seen a lot of it in recent months as a result of the last couple of years. Some students are just flat out too overwhelmed. Everything I talked about freaks them out that much more. makes them want to shut down that much more, triggers them that much more. Whatever it might be, if you're too overwhelmed, first of all, it's okay to be overwhelmed at times. In fact, it's in the range of normal. But if what you're experiencing is beyond what feels normal, find someone to talk to. Friends are great for listening, but there are all kinds of trusted adults here at Northfield High School that can help. That might be your first step in your action item for the next 3.5 weeks, is to figure out who to reach out to if you are overwhelmed. Lastly, you've got this. You came back. You're here. Thanks for coming. We're here to support you. We need help from you to know what you need. We think you can do it. We know you can't control everything, but we know you can control how you respond to the situation you're in, and we think you can get the job done. So, good luck to you, and enjoy the rest of your time today in CCR, and we'll either see you next week or you'll be back to reading what's on the screen.